All right, so it's not really a trailer. It's kind of like game footage that we're going to have here. So tell us about this character over here.
Well, Lucky is the sort of an adorable, charming fox who is ever curious, a little bit brave, and he's going on the greatest adventure of his life here in this game. And this is some B-roll from the game, which really kind of shows off the cute aesthetic and really kind of rich world we were trying to create with the game.
And the level design is really interesting too, right? You had all these people come in and kind of break it down for our Lucky character.
With this game, so this game is actually a sequel to a game we released last year for the Oculus Rift.
Okay.
And that game we were trying to basically learn how to create a VR game because we'd never done it before. This time we had a lot more time to spend on the story, characters, the level design, and we ended up leaning into the kind of the style we call the playground platformer, where we really try and have every level be its own kind of ride and its own kind of variety, so you never are quite sure what you're going to get.
It looks really cool. Like, it looks like the kind of game that I used to play as a kid, like the Crash Bandicoots out there. Like, it looks very bright and vibrant, like very much nostalgic in some form.
So what is this level? Where are we? Where is Lucky's like playground? What is this journey that he's going through?
Well, so first of all, to speak to your point, the primary driver for us in making these games was that itch we feel whenever we remember fondly those games: Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario 64. And we went back and played a lot of those games when we were making these and realized we wanted to make sure is it just nostalgia or is there something there? And what we found was there's a lot of really compelling stuff there that deserves a modern presentation in taking advantage of today's technology, which the Xbox One X certainly does, which we're building this game for.
Right, it's exclusive to Xbox.
It is exclusive to the Xbox family of devices. And so with that in mind, what we're looking at here is the result of, we spent a lot of time in the experimentation prototype phase trying to figure out what kinds of moves and mechanics feel really good and really compelling, what kind of level design really works for this style. And we settled on, okay, so the signature move, and I don't know if we have footage of it or not, but it's the burrow, where Lucky dives into the ground and kind of burrows underneath. He can collect stuff and find secret areas. He can also attack enemies that way. And it's got a really nice kind of rhythm and flow, which some of those earlier games, that was what they were great at. It's just you get into this rhythm and it feels really satisfying.
Organic as well.
Yeah. And then with the level design and the world, the immersion, we didn't want to limit ourselves to one uniform style. Some platformers, each level is the same. The setting may change, but it's basically something like run from left to right.
Right.
We wanted every level to feel like its own kind of experience. And so that's why we call it the playground platformer, because you never are quite sure what you're going to get. Some are completely open 3D maps. Others are actually 2D side-scrolling. In some cases, the 2D side-scrolling, we break the fourth wall, you go down a foxhole, you pop out in the background. So we tried all sorts of things, and there's just a lot of fun ideas going on.
Sounds really, really cool.
So how does the progression work on this game?
Well, I should probably tell you a little bit about the story.
Yes, please.
Lucky's the hero. The villain is this big mean cat named Jinx.
What? You have a cat, so you're
He's
like
not mean.
He's just misunderstood.
What's the cat's name?
Jinx.
Jinx.
My cat's named James. I thought for a second there.
No, we would never infringe upon your cat's good honor, good name.
'Cause I'm onto you.
I know. We got to be careful. But he's recruited his children as his henchmen, and they are referred to as the kitty litter.
That sounds too adorable to be evil.
The thing is, none of them are really evil. They're more misguided, and they've all got their own kind of charming personality. And if anything, they're just kind of funny in their incompetence. But they're all trying to steal this book called the Book of Ages, which is kind of the key artifact in the game, and Lucky is trying to save the book because inside the book are these entire worlds filled with creatures and life, and at some point everyone gets sucked into the book, and that's where the game takes place. Each chapter is a new world.
Wow.
So all the levels that we're looking at here are the different chapters of the book, and Lucky is trying that each world has its own inhabitants. This one is Veggie Village. It has a bunch of cute little worm guys, and I know worms don't sound cute. We found a way to make them cute.
Oh man.
So this is Tess. She's one of the kitty litter. She is an inventor. She has all sorts of contraptions that is causing havoc in the world, and Lucky has to figure out a way to disable them and save the creatures.
I like her wrench in her hair.
Yeah, she's very proud of her inventions.
Yeah.
And she's got to have the tuning fork handy for, science.
There you go.
For science.
For
Yes,
science.
for science.
And so Lucky, he has to battle it out with this cat. What's the story? Like, are they?
They are trying to steal this book for, I wouldn't say evil. Let's say nefarious purposes.
Okay, all right.
And Lucky is just trying to save. He's a guardian of the creatures inside and the world inside, and so he's trying to save the book and kind of restore order in each of these worlds, while they do their best to kind of tear pages out and cause mayhem. So that's kind of the main conflict.
Okay.
Is
So that's our foundation.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to share, with everyone kind of, this is, seeing this for the first time? What kind of players can play? Could experienced players or novice players? I feel like this game is for everybody.
I think you're right. With this game, so in today's market, there just aren't a lot of games like this. They were ever popular in the 90s, and then they kind of faded a little bit. But we still think there's a big audience for this kind of colorful, all audiences, family-friendly game, and we really try to hit this sweet spot where it's simple enough and accessible enough for someone new to this genre, or for kids, parents. But we also wanted there to be enough challenge, enough kind of touches on the nostalgia factor, but in a way that was like completely modern, 4K resolution, no upscaling, 60 frames a second, and really precise controls that just will feel really satisfying to veterans of the genre. So I think there's really going to be something there for everyone, whether you are a longtime gamer or new and just getting an Xbox One for the first time. It's your first gaming console. In either case, there's going to be something there for you to appreciate.
Like, that was the first thing I noticed is this looks like what I used to love, and that is not made that often anymore. They're even remaking the Crash Bandicoots because there's no new games, apart from this now,
You're right,
that come close to that feeling of hanging out on your couch all weekend when it's raining and just beating the levels.
Yeah, just having some casual fun.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see, people are starting to realize this is something that is vastly underserved, this type of game. So we're starting to see more games like that come out. Like we had Ukulele come out earlier, and the reaction to that was really enthusiastic, and I think that encouraged us that we were on the right path. Also, the reaction to our first game, Lucky's Tale, was really enthusiastic. Unfortunately, not a lot of people have VR headsets laying around, so it's harder to play. But that's part of why we wanted to partner with Microsoft to bring the game to more players.
And it's going to be on the new X.
The new X, yes, the Xbox